Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, joined once again by Dallas Winston and Eugene S. Robinson. Author of Fight Everything.
Tell you about that guy.
Interrupting me with his one-man meme. Eugene. And who's 22 minutes late? Who asked for this ungodly early hour? And who was 22 minutes late? The one.
Hey,
the
man,
only,
I got into some Stallone last night. It screwed me up time-wise.
Stallone?
Yeah, home front with our friend Jason Statham.
I see. How was it?
Well, every Stallone movie, 3/4 of the way through, it was great, and then he Stalloneizes it the last 25%, man.
I see. So is that a skip or a recommend?
I'd still recommend it, but you got to know that 3/4 of the way, when they start to kidnap the girl, it gets, Stallone becomes Stallone,
I see.
When was this movie put out?
Last year.
I just want to go on record. You're recommending a modern-day Stallone movie.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. He wrote it, and he produced it.
That's even worse. You know there's going to be some kind of Rocky traceback element in there.
It was just Jason Statham doing the exact same role he's done in every single one of his movies, which I love. So, except he didn't wear a suit this time. He wore a casual trucker cap.
I don't know if I can go with Statham in a trucker cap, but I got to say
James Franco.
What about it? No, huh? What?
Winona Ryder, James Franco.
They were in this movie?
Now I got your attention.
I like Winona.
Winona Ryder's still allowed to make movies? Hey, can everybody see the shadow on my face? I want this for the record. This is from the fucking McMansion they've built next door that has now officially blotted out the sun.
I thought you finally hit puberty and were able to grow a little fuzz there.
It's nearly done. The Mediterranean revival. It feels a lot. All right, we are here to talk.
Lightning in Texas is a terrible thing. It just strikes anywhere at any time, anyone really.
It's true. It could strike any time. That's an excellent thought. All right, UFC Fight Night, Cerrone versus Miller. It's happening Wednesday night on Fox Sports 1. We are here to give the infamous and patented Care Don't Care preview. Eugene, do you want to do the disclaimer before we dive into this?
Yeah, look, if you're thinking you're going to go on the comments and post some anonymous stuff calling us assholes because we do this, don't do it. Because it's not about you, your fighter. It's about the marketing heft behind you and what the UFC has seen fit to put in place because they love you so much. In other words, if we don't know about you, someone's failed at their job. So it's not your skills or talent. Show us something that'll make us remember. So,
and because we already know we're assholes.
Yes, that's not news to anybody. We're not So, all right.
Can we put Crybaby? Can we put Crybaby in there?
Absolutely.
Crybabies. Yeah.
Are we saying we're crybabies or the other people are crybabies?
Well, it's given that we're crybabies, but they're crybabies for getting upset.
Yes. All right. So, this is actually not that bad a card, despite the glut of UFCs. I'm kind of caring about this one based on about 4 fights on the main card, maybe 5, and even 1 or 2 on the prelims. But first up, UFC Fight Pass preliminary women's strawweight. Is this the first ever women's strawweight fight in the UFC, Dallas?
Reckon it is.
Wow, a momentous occasion, and it's commemorated on the Fight Pass card, of course, where only the hardest of the hardcores will see it. Women's strawweights: Claudia Gadelha versus Tina Ladimaki. Is this a Finn versus a Brazilian? What is this? All right.
It is.
All right. Do I know last names or do I know last names? All right. Who wants this first? Eugene, you got to go first. You're the taster, the official court taster.
I care.
Because
I care about all women's MMA.
I see. So it's a generic sexist remark.
Hey, as a father of 3 daughters, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, make that claim.
All right. And any particular insights to these 2 young ladies that are undefeated?
I have no idea what either of these women are.
That's what I was digging for. I really don't either, but I did guess that one was Brazilian and one was Finnish, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Finnish.
Are you gonna finish the joke? You didn't even. That's not even a new joke. You're just recycling your Dallas joke.
Did I? Man.
For the record, the audience has to know. Eugene insisted on this hour, and then I thought it was an hour later. So poor Dallas doesn't get up this early and didn't get any sleep.
I apologize, Dallas. I'm ashamed of myself.
Eugene has no shame. This man is incapable of shame.
Hey, the S stands for shame, man. What are you talking about?
Empty words. All right, Dallas. Do you care about this fight, and if so, why?
Indeed, indeed, I do. Beyond just the precedence of it, Goodell is a killer. She's undefeated out of Novo Nio, 11 or
11
12
and
and
0.
0.
11 and
And
0.
she beat Ayaka Hamasaki, who's solid, really, really solid product. Handed her only loss. So she's, I mean, especially considering the stage of the UFC and this being their first fight, she will probably get a stranglehold on the hot, as far as a hot prospect for women's strawweight.
I see. And Latimaki, the Finnish girl, she a sacrificial lamb. She's 5 and 0.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about her, 5 and 0, but I mean, based on my limited knowledge, yeah,
Yeah,
Goodell is.
she's a European grappler, and just to make more stereotypical generalizations, European grapplers when they go up against the Brazilian grapplers, it's generally fools being schooled. It's so yeah, I got to go with the Brazilian chick too,
Hey,
and
man,
I'm kind of excited.
I've been crushed by European grapplers. I'm not gonna.
Are you Brazilian, Eugene? Just for
I
the
am
record. All right.
however,
Robinson.
So the blue belt, what you're saying is the blue belt division of European grapplers is surprisingly the blue belt seniors division.
No, oh man.
How many?
Okay,
I mean,
this is,
since you got your purple belt last week, how many European grapplers have you contested with?
that woke me up. Actually, I don't know if the guy himself was a blue or purple. I showed up at Berserker's Fight Club in Szczecin, Poland, and fought some guys there. He was like a European national champ.
You mean
tough.
you grappled just sparred, like, or was this the competitive tournament?
No, it was rolling. Grappling.
You just rolled with some guys and got schooled, and doesn't that happen every gym you stop in, or?
It does. It actually does not. If you can believe that.
I got to take that back.
How do you do in all those gyms you stop into, Nate?
I'm undefeated, Dallas. Undefeated.
And just back to the original topic, Tom Ninamaki, a self, what you would call a European grappler, just fucking schooled Hani Yahya, who is a solid grappler.
That's very true. So some of these cliches
And a Brazilian.
down. Yes, and one I was not expecting. I didn't expect that at all. I was completely floored. All right, let's move on to the Fox Sports 1 preliminary card.
You know what it's like? It's like learning a move in class on Monday and tapping a guy with it on Tuesday.
What is like that? That sounds like a wonderful experience.
Open your mind, Nathan. It's a metaphor, for God's sake.
I see, but a metaphor for what? You got to connect it back to something.
Being a Brazilian and getting tapped by a non-Brazilian.
But I thought it would be a good thing to learn a move and then use it to tap somebody on Monday.
Yeah, it's good for the guy who's doing the tap, who is tapping the person out.
I see,
Not so great for the guy who's being tapped.
Yeah, I mean, tapping a Brazilian for any grappler in the world's got to be like,
Yeah, not so great for the Brazilian. Pretty great for the person doing the tap.
You're taking the metaphor too literally, goddammit.
It's kind of like I imagine it was fun.
Break it down.
I was about to make a World Cup. I was about to make a World Cup reference, but I'll set myself on fire before I do that.
Cup,
all right.
What's that?
Exactly. All right. So this is another one of these stupid cards where they got four fights on the prelim card that's on Fox Sports 1, and then 6 fights that are on the main card that's also on Fox Sports 1. So this is going to be a long marathon of cheesy, awful Fox Sports 1 commercials. And we love all our MMA sponsors and anybody who contributes to support the sport, but some of those commercials are painful. Anyway, first up, lightweights, Yosdiznis Cedeno, I know I butchered that name, and Jared Sanders. Eugene?
I just went. Why 2 for me in a row?
All right, so you're ducking it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm ducking it.
You're ducking this one, Dallas.
Because I don't know either of those guys. How's that?
All right, so just that's why I went to you first, because I know Dallas has a better chance, and then you're going to copy his work if I let you go second. So
Eugene was more of taking a stand for justice and equality in your line of questioning.
Yeah. He knows where that will get him.
Knuckle Up was a singular counterpoint to your entire garbage morality.
My entire garbage morality, just because Bloody Elbow ran all the exposés on Holyoke.
No.
Oh, last week with the Golden Rule thing. I was just using the Golden Rule as a metric. I wasn't saying I endorsed it.
No, you were coming down on the heroin.
You don't endorse the Golden Rule?
Well, he was coming down really hard on the heroin hooker, and
Well, she's a Black Widow, man. She's got a trail of death and destruction. She's apparently a serial killer, Eugene. I'm
Hey,
against
man,
him.
does two
That's a
people
lot.
constitute a trail?
Yes, there's a third guy as well. It looks like, and so
Oh,
On the grassy knoll.
yeah, yeah. Like these Black Widow types, Eugene. You know,
It's a heroin
I'm not
rush.
into it so much now, but I as a kid I was really fascinated by serial killers, and if you ever read about like Jane Tappan,
yep.
anybody familiar with her? Like this, I believe she was a nurse that snuffed a lot of her patients. These Angel of Death
Oh
Black
yeah,
Widow
actually,
types.
I did see that.
Yeah,
That's
they're a really evil and
No, no,
dangerous
no, no.
breed.
You know why they do? You know why one is not enough and 1,000 is not too many?
Well, do tell.
It's
sexual
addictive.
repression, insecurity.
No, it's
It's
addictive.
it
Once
is.
you once you do it once, you kind of go like, man, I wonder, is that bad? The only way for me to figure this out is to do it again.
I see. I see. Well, that's the old line about you try it once and you're a philosopher, try it twice you're a pervert.
Yeah.
Supposedly Jane Tappan, the one or two times she was eyewitness snuffing somebody, had her legs crossed pretty tight and was wiggling them pretty good, getting her wiggle
Yep.
on.
There you
So
go.
yeah, this chick though doesn't seem to have been. Yeah, she seems to have been just pretty icy cold about it. But that's what happens when
Hey,
you're a
man, if
hooker.
you jump in that hooker heroin-filled tank, you got to expect to be bitten.
Oh, exactly. I don't really have any sympathy for the dude. I mean, rich asshole like paying some chick to. I mean, you know, he was.
Hey,
Yeah.
easy.
Oh,
Life lessons for children.
I'm not judging. I mean, you know, if I was a rich asshole like that, who knows what kind of trouble I would get in. In fact, that's one of the reasons I quit being a high-income asshole because I was suddenly falling into a lot of pitfalls I didn't think I would be.
I don't want all that money.
Yeah.
I
The money
prefer to
was no
be.
problem. I was never like personally greedy, but when I discovered the effect that money had on women, I realized I had no moral fiber whatsoever. And
And
the thing
finally, a way to get them.
exactly, that was the thing. It was like what is
Big
happening
breakthrough.
here? Yeah, it was disillusioning. Anyway,
All
but
right.
fun. I'm glad I did it.
I
All
got
right.
a ladder to get on the roof. Maybe I'll get on the roof.
Exactly. All right.
It's dangerous on the roof. Well, what's the ladder for?
You've been ducking this fight for like 5 minutes now, Eugene.
No, I already
Yes,
said I
this
don't
is-
care. I don't know.
You
I don't
don't
know
care.
yet.
All right. So Dallas, do you care?
Yeah, he was really ducking that while you.
While I rambled,
Talked
while I
about
waxed
chicks.
loquacious. All right. My brief window when women were interested in me. Anyway, go ahead. Dallas, do you care or not about this fight?
Medium. Jared Sanders is a pretty good
There's no
prospect.
medium.
He's
It's a binary. It's a
don't
binary.
fucking. If I'm gonna
Yes.
step this early,
My
I'm gonna
show.
be grouchy, and I'm not gonna be confined by you.
Dallas
Sanders
strikes
is a
out a
good word.
bold claim for the mushy middle. The mushy middle. The
Hey, people are sending me
prevaricators.
complaining text, man, about no knuckle up. What's the problem?
It's up. It'll be up in 45 minutes. In 25 minutes, it'll be up.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right, so I
Lead
care. Then.
singers. All right,
Jared
you care.
Sanders. He's a D1 All-American. He's got big muscles for a featherweight. I just had to get that out of the way.
What about Cedeno? Any thoughts?
No, he's all right. I think he's something in 3. His record's not the best. His debut, I don't remember who it was against, but it was another guy I didn't know well, and I think he lost a split decision. So, kind of jury's still out.
Yeah.
Tough matchup here, though.
Yeah. Well, Sanders though is a guy like when you're making your UFC debut at 33, there's only so much upside. But I'm glad he's out there. Hell, I mean, you know, Randy Couture made his UFC debut at 33, but that was in a much more lenient drug testing environment, I gotta say. All right, so Aljamain Sterling versus Hugo Viana, and I gotta say it's been years since Randy's lawyers have threatened to sue me, so maybe I'm due for another.
Had they threatened to sue you
phone call.
before?
Yes, they have.
For what?
I posted an article Jonathan Snowden wrote, but I posted it under my name, and it needed severe editing. I think he was right to demand some editing, so apologies to everybody for that one. Anyway, neither here nor there. But basically, remember how Snowden had to apologize for that Stephen Bonner article he wrote?
I don't remember this.
Well, you know, but at one point, Snowden had to apologize a lot for a Stephan Bonner article he wrote, and this one was just as bad. It was just about Randy Couture, and I stupidly put my name on it. So there you go. Um,
About
yeah,
how good of a guy Randy was, you mean?
something like that.
I support Randy Couture.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of his work.
Hey, you know how I know people are in trouble when they tell me you're gonna have to apologize.
I see. When other people are in trouble, when they tell you you're going to have to apologize.
Correct.
I see.
I've done this under duress one time.
Oh, you apologized under duress once, and what was it for?
In a professional setting, was compelled to do so on the threat of job removal, and I did so. But
was this last year? Was this last year when you had to? Yep. Well, that was a dark chapter. That was a dark chapter, and revenge is still a dish best served cold. So,
how's the show coming along, guys?
It's all right. Aljamain Sterling and Hugo Viana. What's our care don't care status? And I got to say, I don't care about the Cedeno Sanders fight.
Yeah, I don't care about it either. How's that?
All right, and the Sterling Viana fight.
We're breezing along.
All right, so you don't care about this one either. And Dallas, do you care?
Yeah, kinda, because I like Hugo Viana, and Sterling is the guy who debuted out of the Serra-Longo camp. He's undefeated. I'm medium on this, and yes, that is a category.
I'm going to notch that down as a care. I remember Viana because he's one of multiple Brazilian tough guys nicknamed Wolverine, but his sideburns are actually Hugh Jackman-esque. So, but I can't quite muster up a care. Well, I guess so. His only loss was to T.J. Dillashaw. And
so
Sterling
there are many Brazilian tough guys nicknamed Wolverine.
There's at least two guys who came out in the same season named Wolverine, to considerable confusion on my part. Or maybe I'm confused about that. I mean, that's entirely possible, but
maybe you're just confused.
I am generally confused. Sterling, he's shiny and he's young.
If you got to look these guys up,
you're right. It's a don't care. It's a don't care, but I'm open to it. I'm intrigued by Sterling. I got to say.
It's either care or don't care, Nathan.
It's don't care, Dallas. I'm one of
the one good thing about doing a show this early is I feel like I have a right just to be a prick. So,
like you hold back normally. Are you holding back normally on me? Okay,
yes.
Well, we'll keep doing it. Go back to that. All right.
Yeah.
Women's bantamweight, Jessamine Duke versus Leslie Smith. Eugene, because you're such
a sexist.
Yeah.
I care because of Jessamine Duke. I care.
And not just the generalized. It's the ladies.
Yeah. Oh no. I've seen her fight, so I care.
All right. I don't care about this one. I'm not sold on Duke, and I don't know who Smith is. All right, Dallas, you take.
I care.
Because
Duke again. I don't know why. I don't know. I got a little soft spot for Jessamine Duke.
I see.
And she's solid. She's got serious technique, and Leslie Smith is the one that debuted, and I don't remember exactly who she fought, but she's got some pretty sloppy stand-up. Sarah Kaufman, I think she fought.
Yeah.
So this should be a good fight for Jessamine.
Yeah. Jessamine, I don't know. She's only 3-1.
And how come people are not more excited about the Holly Holmes thing?
I'm excited about the Holly Holmes thing because people don't know who she is. She hasn't fought in any high-profile MMA fights, really. So.
Hey, maybe you guys can catch me up, but I've been hearing Holly Holm, Carano, and Cyborg. All that shit.
Yeah, all that. And I think that says more than anything that Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta are businessmen, and they saw those UFC 174 numbers and said, ooh, shit.
Yeah.
We need some big fights in the pipeline. We need to milk this Ronda Rousey phenomenon while we've got it. And so hopefully they're making it all happen.
Also, they're fight fans, man. They got to put her in some real peril or people are going to stop paying attention, you know?
It's true. And
so real quick question. If Cyborg drops, fights Rousey, who do you guys got?
Cyborg.
Probably Cyborg, but if the weight cut really deflates her, and if her medicine, she has to change her stacks, and it's notable, then Rousey might have a chance, a better chance, I think so. But I don't think she's going to get. Ronda won't be hip tossing her with a quickness, and if Cyborg starts hitting her and kneeing her, it could be a bad night for Ronda. But I think it's a more compelling fight than I thought it was a year ago. So,
and that was always the plan. I think this garbage.
Of course.
I think Ronda's hand. Oh, she's out until January. That's garbage. That's garbage.
Another conspiracy from Eugene S.
I'm not,
Robinson.
it's not a conspiracy, man. This is like, come on. A hand
It's
injury is going to
it's
lay you
empty
up until
speculation. How about that?
a hand
Says the
injury is
guy
going to
who
lay you up until
didn't you just say
2015.
didn't you just
Hey,
make a comment about Cyborg's medicine or stacks?
I did
Yeah,
that.
Conspiracy.
yeah.
Jeez,
Uh,
no, there's a difference because Cyborg has failed a drug test. Okay,
yeah, but
Has.
that's called evidence, factual evidence.
yeah. So with Rhonda's hand being screwed up,
Hey, you know,
let's talk. Let's talk to any hand doctors that we know and find out an injury that involves 2 or 3 stitches is severe enough to lay you up
it
until
was like 9 to 10
2015.
stitches. It was 9 to 10 stitches and a broken thumb that was new, I believe. All right, so
Didn't Chris Lieben fight on Tough without a knuckle? Like his whole knuckle came off
look,
and he still
is that what
fought?
you call?
I just saw Uriah Hall fight with a bone sliding in and out of his skin.
Oh, that was hideous. But he had to.
And he doesn't even have to lay off until 2015.
It's just.
He should have
it's just a
targeted the
second
eyeball
toe.
with that exposed bone.
Yeah.
That is just Dallas. We can't
That's
go that
fight IQ.
over the line. That is over the line. All right.
So hold it. Are you not willing to concede that 2015 might be?
She's got
excessive
movie
layoff?
work. I think it's very convenient. I'll agree with you. It's very convenient for Ronda to lay off because she's got some movie work anyway, and so it's a better excuse than I've got some movie work. I want to make some money.
Yep.
And plus, they don't have any opponents for her. See, the thing is, Kat Zingano, I think Kat Zingano has a real chance to whip Ronda Rousey's ass, but Kat Zingano is getting John Fitched because she's not going to make him any money. Like, she needs to build up and basically destroy the whole division at high-profile fights, and then people will want to see Kat Zingano and Ronda Rousey. Kat might be the end, you know. I could see Rousey destroying Holm. I think they need to rush Holly Holm into a fight with Ronda Rousey before somebody else beats her. I think they're going to book Gina Carano against Rousey will be the next one. Don't even let Gina fight anybody else.
That's such a stupid fight.
I think
That's
it's a
such
great
a stupid
fight.
fight.
It's a moneymaker, man. I mean, what is wrong with that fight?
Really, with the influx of these new women's fighters, let Ronda sit out for a year and build up Carano. Half the fans won't even know who the hell Gina is.
People know who Gina is. People know who Gina is.
No.
Yes, they do.
It's been a long time since
I mean, yes, they do, but I mean, you know, we're talking casual fans, reintroduction to.
Yeah, but the thing with Gina is that she was always so bad at making weight, and she's old, and she hasn't fought in so long. Don't risk the big fight. Make the big fight when you can make it. That's one thing I've learned and tried to teach.
You just said 3 things that argue aggressively against the big fight.
What? No, make the big money maker.
She's old. She hasn't fought for a long time. She's never been weight.
Look, I'm making the
throw her in
cynical.
against the champion.
It's the cynic's case for make some money off this shit. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you want to make, I'm saying, do you want to make money or do you want to put on a sporting event? Like, I'm on the let's make money side. I think everybody follows my work.
Did they just quote Ronda Rousey? Did I imagine this again? Ronda Rousey is saying that Gina Carano's got a great rack. Is that true?
Wow, I missed that, but I'll be on the lookout.
Did you see that, Dallas? No, I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Did that bubble up out of your subconscious, Eugene? Was that?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I read it.
Either way, I'm glad you mentioned it.
Eugene had a dream where he and Ronda Rousey are smoking cigars and putting their feet up and making crude comments about.
I have a great Gina Carano story where she called a friend of mine in his hotel room, another professional fighter, and said, "So, you know, I was thinking maybe could come up to your room and we could hang for a bit, you know." And
Gina called this guy.
Yeah, he called this guy, and he said, "I'm a little tired."
Oh.
And so he's telling me this story. I'm going, what? He goes, "Hey, man, it's not my type." You huge piece of human garbage.
Not my type. Oh, man. Is his type men?
No.
It's a disturbing story.
Slender and small Asian women. So
not that I'm one of them, but so many men have fantasized about that hotel room call, and for this man to squander it.
Well, that's why he was telling us. He was telling us purposefully to crush whatever meager hopes we had left. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in that kind of thing, but I still hate and resent men with that kind of power. All right, let's move on. Lightweights, Pat Healy and Gleason Tebow. I care. I'm excited about this one. This is
Oh, so
uh,
I get it. When there's a care, you just jump right in there. You don't
I
ask Eugene.
jumped
You
right
don't
in
ask
there.
Eugene first when there's a
No,
care.
no, I
An
don't.
easy
I don't.
care.
After all your malfeasance, Mr. Let's do an early show, and then I'll be 20 minutes late. Now you're gonna get all persnickety about it. What's your take, Eugene? Do you care?
I
Don't care?
care. I care.
Yeah,
Oh,
because it's an obvious care. If Kid Nate cares, like if Sleepy Old not paying attention to the game, Kid Nate cares, then it's a clear care.
sleepy old, have no idea where I am right now. Kid Nate cares.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
painfully aware of where I am right now, Eugene. All right, and Dallas, your take on this one?
Definitely
That's
care.
it.
All right,
Bad
so we're
matchup
gonna
for
have to
Healy though.
escalate to the next level and make picks. T-Bow versus Healy, both oversized grinders at the lightweight division, almost mirror images of each other. Who you got, Eugene?
Well, I don't know. I mean, T-Bow is kind of a gift, man.
And Pat Healy's not?
And Pat Healy,
Reef for Healy?
the whole weed thing. That's not. Yeah, you got to trust the guy with recreational drug use. That's a different
But then
story.
he
man.
reels off a 3-fight losing
That's
streak,
right. That's right.
and you know it's
Because he
like,
got off the pot.
well, I think it might be the dangerous reefer abuse, man. This is what.
He quit huffing the muggles. All right, I'm gonna go with T-Bow because he hasn't been busted at it, hasn't turned in a dirty drug test yet, which is amazing to me.
It really is. Like this guy has. If I was at the NSAC, I would be all over Gleason Tebow with the random testing.
Where is this fight gonna be again?
This fight is in New Mexico or some shit, isn't it? Where is this? No,
Or
it's not
Jersey.
New Mexico.
New Jersey, New Mexico.
New Mexico. It has a new in it. I mean,
There's a lot
I
of
knew it was
tequila and
the.
hats in
I
one
knew,
of them, but
I knew it was the home state of one of the guys headlining. All right, so I had a
All right.
50-50 chance. And New Mexico, New Jersey, there's something in common. Same first word. So it wasn't as stupid as it sounds. Atlantic City, New Jersey. And if you've ever been completely blitzed in Atlantic City or Albuquerque, it's somewhat similar experiences. So anyway,
I knew a bunco artist in Atlantic City whose scam was to spill a drink on the floor, fall on that drink, and demand money. You know,
from the casino.
from the
it's well
casino.
thought. That's well
And then
thought right there.
then he was like, you know what, man, this is getting old. I gotta. He was a junkie, so he had to up his game a bit. So one time he did it, and as it happens sometimes with junkies, his bowels were fairly loose. He pooped his
Ooh.
pants.
Ooh.
And they took him in a back room this time, and they said, "Terrible for your loss."
These are all
Mister-
elaborately planned heists, I hope you guys realize. Spilling
Yeah.
and pooping your pants. What happens is you do that, and then you think, I'm embarrassed, but how can I capitalize on this and maybe even make some money? Fucking guys.
Any junkie that's poopy is clearly a junkie that needs his medicine. That's
Oh no! This is the guy who I told you about who was being chased by the Dominican drug dealers after he ripped them off and drove straight into a traffic jam on the George Washington Bridge. And he had borrowed the car to get there. He's looking in the rearview mirror. He goes, "Screw it!" Jumps out and runs to Jersey, leaving them with a car for $50 of heroin.
oh, that's why
You know?
junkies are not your friends. I don't care who they are, how long you've known them. Once they're a junkie, they are not your friend.
Right.
Don't loan them the car.
They told the guy, if we ever see you in the casino again, we're gonna kill you.
Kill you.
Anywhere
Better
in
be
this
wearing a
casino,
diaper.
we're gonna kill you. Here's your money. Get out. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough.
Just
All
for
right.
the record, I'm going to take T-Bow since you were going to
You're
forget
also
to
gonna
ask me.
take T-Bow. I gotta take T-Bow too. It's like I'll be rooting for Healy, but it's like T-Bow's only had the one loss to Michael Johnson, but he got TKO'd, and all three of Healy's losses have been decisions. I might take Healy just to be contrary. I think I'm gonna do that.
Healy's jab's been looking good, but usually he has a huge advantage over someone grappling. He probably won't have that. And there's two fights where the speed and quickness difference are going to be huge. This should be one.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm just like I said, I'm actually picking T-Bow, but I'm rooting for Healy. How about that? All right, and featherweights, Luke, and this is the main event now. We're to the six fight main card. Featherweights, Lucas Martins versus Alex White. Eugene?
How did I know I was gonna get that one? I don't care. I don't know how those
kind of
guys
funny.
are.
I don't care about it either. Dallas, do you care, and why should we?
Well, Lucas Martins is like a destroyer. I mean,
It's not
he's,
Martins.
I don't know, Monero. He's a shootbox guy, trains with Macaco. I think he only has one loss, and I don't remember who it is, but it's really legit. Oh, Barbosa. He's got all finishes. The dude's a destroyer. Alex White is the guy. It might have been short notice. I don't know, but he debuted against Esteban Payan and knocked him silly in the first round. He's undefeated too.
Yep.
Standing
And
Wang.
25. So
This
this
would be
does
good.
look like a fun fight, but I still, it didn't break through my care barrier. All right, flyweights: John Lineker versus Alptekin Ozkilik. Eugene,
Yeah, oh yeah, because of Lineker.
just because you're not crazy for the Turkish delight.
Is that his actual fight nickname?
That's his nickname, man. Isn't that? It's like, isn't there some other kind of Turkish? They could have
Turkish
called him the
guys
Turkish prison. If I was a Turkish fighter, I'd be the Turkish prison.
Turkish guys are fucking tough.
Oh
Man.
yeah, they are. They're
You know.
Mongols, man. The Turks have had their iron boot on the throat of the Arabs and the Persians and the Greeks and and the Slavs for like 2,000 years. They're like a complete alpha race.
Yeah.
Not that I go in for that kind of thing.
All
but
I know is we played a show. This band played support for us in Brussels, Sons of Furman, and these guys were like literally like they weren't even speaking Turkish to each other. They were all brothers. That's why they call themselves Sons of Furman, and they were like just hard cats, man, who happened to be able to play guitar, bass, and drums. But they were like, and then we leave the dressing room, come back, and these guys are grappling in the dressing room. I mean, not fun grappling. Like you were fighting over the cold cut tray or something, man. It was like they had scars on their faces. These were tough cats, man. But I,
yeah.
maybe he'll show something worth seeing.
Yeah, well, he real, he won his first UFC fight, then he lost to Louis Smolka, but I don't know. Lineker is the guy. Who was it I got all confused and thought was John Lineker? Moraga. For a whole episode, I thought Moraga was Lineker, but Lineker is the one that's missed weight so many times, and he lost his last fight to Ali Bogatinov. I think this is a good fight.
How are things going for Ali?
They're going EPO land, man. Ali, it's funny. Like, he failed, according to rumor and reports, he failed a drug test in a sambo competition, and the UFC and the British Columbia Commission had no problem with letting him have his title fight. Then he pops for EPO, and again, like, either they've upped their game in their ability to detect EPO, or Ali had to know this test was coming. It wasn't a random surprise test. This was your regular post-fight test. Maybe he didn't know there was going to be a blood test. But getting popped for EPO is serious mismanagement of your.
Well, he's out a year now, right?
At least, yeah. And the UFC ain't booking him for any more pay-per-view headliners.
Are they clawing back the cash, or are they letting him keep his cash?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Have you heard anything about his fines or punitiveness, Dallas?
Huh?
No. Huh? Yeah, you don't even follow that side of sport, do you?
You guys are so anti-drugs. I'd just like to say.
No,
we're not anti-drugs. We're anti-getting
Not at
caught
all.
using drugs. That's an important distinction.
Well,
And-
fighters
and
can
you-
use any drug they want. I'm okay with it, and I support it, actually.
Actually, I'm selling any drug that you as a fighter might need. I'm perfectly willing to sell it to you.
That's
There
a
we go.
joke, kiddies. That's a joke. We're not actually doing that. Just a joke. Just a joke. But Dallas, if you do anything like that and you don't cut me in, there's going to be real problems. All right. That was also a joke. All right. Lineker, Ozkilik, Dallas, you care, right?
Yes.
And
I don't know about Lineker, though, man.
Because of all the weight misses?
Not really. Yeah, kind of that, but I think it took me a while to get over his loss to Godino. And I didn't really think, even though he's a good striker, he didn't have a lot of knockout power. But he's been doing better then. But I don't know. I'm still not quite sold on him. And this dude is gonna probably put him on his ass.
I see. Yeah, quite possibly. Eugene, do you have a pick in this one?
Yeah. Let's go with the Turk to be.
All right, yeah, I got to go with Ozkilik too, because of style, wrestler versus striker. All right, lightweights: Justin Salas versus Joe Proctor. Eugene?
No, I don't care.
Nah, I
I mean,
don't care either.
I paid attention to Salas a little bit, but not enough to rise to the occasion for this one.
To rise to the occasion. I'll just let that loaded phrase pass. All right, Dallas.
Come
What do
on,
you...
man. You're like one of those guys that you're rolling with who says, "Man, you smell nice today."
Any edge you can get once.
Yeah, right.
All right, Dallas. Do you care? Salas versus Proctor, lightweights.
Probably one of my least favorite fights on the card, but yeah, because
That's
Proctor
brutal.
just took a step back. They have a similar style. I'm kind of interested, yeah.
Kind of interested. Yeah. Oh, they're both coming off wins. I can't say I care, but now I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. All right, welterweights. Rick Story versus Leonardo Mafra. Eugene,
Yes, I care.
there's a Rick Story.
Yeah, Rick Story. I love this. I'm looking at Rick Story as a guy who's battling his way back.
Battling his way
That's
back.
battling without the G. Battling his way back.
I'm looking at Rick Story as a guy who's either battling his way back or he is sliding down a cliff face first. Like he needs to turn it around and he needs to
Well,
turn around hard.
that's part of battling your way back.
Yeah, the emphasis on the battling part.
Yeah, right. You know, and plus his problems I think are head based at this point. Or with a guy who fought with that kind of ferocity, maybe they're not head based at all, but maybe they're a necessary. And this is just me wild herring it. A necessary response to the increased level of testing that we're seeing.
Ah, a little extreme caution.
Who did he lose to besides Gastelum? Maya?
He's been on a win-loss thing. He lost to Maya, he beat Quinn Mulhern, he lost to Mike Pyle, then he beat Brian Ebersol, and then he lost to Kevin Gastelum.
He's kind of been like that his whole career, hasn't he? He's
Yeah,
fought a lot of top
I
guys.
think he's a complete head case. I think Eugene is irresponsibly speculating again, and because I think Story is clearly a head case and a bully, and a front runner, and so I'm a fan.
That's a
So
lot of
he's-
things. He's a head
I
case,
know.
he's a bully, and he's a front runner.
And
sliding down a cliff
I'm
face first.
speculating.
Yeah, and no, these are all documented things. Everybody, I think, could see that Story's a bit of a front runner, and if he gets out ahead, he's really vicious and dangerous. But if he hits some speed bumps, then he tends to get into questions his own confidence. He follows the Vitor Belfort template. And
Like Sade says, man, touch him and he folds.
Touch him, he folds. The wisdom of Sade. And who's this Macaro?
Sade.
Macaro. Who's this guy that he's fighting down?
Sade.
Is it shoot to box a welterweight 25 years old?
Sade.
You guys aren't talking about Sade. I'm trying to talk about the fights here. Come on.
Ridiculous.
Get around it.
Work
You can't
with
get
me.
around Sade.
Sade is
Mafra, Leonardo Mafra is a shootbox guy. His only loss was actually, I want to say, in the UFC at middleweight. I don't remember who it was. Maybe a tough
Thiago
Brazil.
Perpetuo.
Perpetuo.
Yeah.
He's solid, and he should be. I mean, I don't think he's going to take Rick's Story, but he's going to look to be violent. So this will be a good. I mean, Story will have to be classic Story in order to, or that's his best bet to beat this guy. This guy's a nasty Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah, Story. This should be a fun collision of violence here. A fun fight, and it should be a good tune-up fight for Story, but also a good opportunity for Mafra. Is this a short notice fight or something? Why are they giving Story such a green opponent? Nobody knows. Oh, he was
I don't
supposed
know
to
if it's
face
short
John
notice.
Howard. It was John Howard was supposed to fight him. So
Ooh, that would have been a good fight.
yeah.
that
But this is still a fine one. All right, and now the co-main event: Edson Barboza versus Evan Dunham. Huge care.
Oh, what a
Exactly.
valiant first step out of the gate there for Kid Nate.
That's right. You know my brand.
Okay.
Crass opportunism is part of my brand. Yes, indeed.
I really care about this thing I should care about. All right. Okay,
And
you
you?
didn't ask, but I'll just say I care.
Okay. This one is so obvious to care that we're going to have to do picks. And Dallas, obviously, you care. So I'll even go first on the picks here. I'm going to pick, man, are these guys both Gictas, Eugene? Or are they just Gicts?
They're gigs. They're gigs.
I got to go with Dunham because I think the book has been written on how to beat Barboza, and it's just to come right at him and beat his ass, and I think Dunham knows how to do that. So I'm picking Dunham. Eugene?
I don't know. I'm gonna pick Barboza just for fun. I keep thinking of the Maltese Falcon. You know, like wish me luck, Shamus. I got a raw deal. You know, your kind always does, sweetheart. You know, so I'm thinking Barboza. Maybe he's just gotten a raw deal. You know, in other words, I'm willing to go for the Lucy Charlie Brown kick the football again on Barboza. You know.
I see. I see. Well, Donovan's done the same thing to many fans, so they're both risky picks. But I'm more interested in the Gikta categories of these guys. Are you saying they're both Gikts, or do you think Dunham is a Gikta? Or
Dunham, yeah. No, no, Gipta has to be really strong, man. You're
yeah,
gonna
Gikta's
tell me
worse
to
than
ask me
Gikt.
about
That's what I'm
Dunham.
saying.
I'm gonna say he's a Gikt, but a Gipta is like one of those guys like you just
You
no
never pick
matter how he always finds a new and spectacular way to disappoint you, and that he's not quite there yet for me. You know, I still feel if you're gonna say Dunham, I still feel he's competitive. He might win it, and which just means I haven't thought of the way in which he's gonna crush my dreams on this one. So I'm not gonna pick him, but I'm not. Gikta's powerful, man. Gikta's powerful. That's when the guy that you call a guy a Gikta, he is turned into a pillar of salt. There's no going back from that.
He's like the junkie who borrowed your car and ran
And
over the
leaves
bridge.
it on the George Washington Bridge
Yeah,
as he
that's a
runs
Gikta.
Jersey with the
You feel
heroin.
it in your loins.
All right, Dallas, who's your pick on this one?
Leaning real strong towards Barboza. I really like Evan Dunham, but Homeboy is really slow. Slow
Yeah.
hand speed, slow footwork, and he throws that. It's kind of a 1-2.
He's also a
Sometimes
slow starter too.
he leads with more of a hook than a jab. But there are times when I've said Evan Dunham just showed how a simple 1-2 can completely turn around and control a fight, and there's other times where I've said Evan Dunham does nothing but wade forward and throw the same combination. And usually Dunham's a guy he's an excellent three-dimensional fighter. He's a good wrestler, jiu-jitsu, striking, so he thrives in matchups where he has a big advantage in one of those areas, and he doesn't here. Barbosa, so like
You don't
Melvin
think he has a wrestling and grappling edge over Barbosa?
may be wrestling, but he wasn't like a star wrestler. He's just good, and he's an
Yeah.
excellent scrambler. Barbosa actually is a good wrestler, especially a defensive wrestler, and his jiu-jitsu is higher than whatever the fuck his
But I mean,
belt
if you
rating is.
were coaching Dunham, wouldn't you just show him the video of Jamie Varner and Donald Cerrone coming out, charging out of the gate and beating this guy's ass, and then hit him with the cattle prod and the jalapeno treatment, and just like be like, "What are you gonna do, Evan? Attack! Attack!" Like
Well, yeah, totally, because I bet no one ever thought about walking up and punching Barbosa in the face as a strategy. It's fucking innovative as hell.
it
Well, but
works,
honestly,
man.
that was Varner using his threat of wrestling to kind of change levels. And Varner's a great boxer, and it's that hand speed, man.
And a
Dunham's
really good
hands are
wrestler.
slow. So if you look at the way Melvin Gillard just destroyed Dunham, it was because quickness and delivery of strikes. Dunham's got a good chin too, so. And Dunham's got the kind of heart where he could just weather the storm, and if Barbosa leaves an opening, I mean, Dunham is fucking venerable, so, but still really rough matchup for him.
Yeah, you guys are making me. I'm not changing my pick, but now I'm regretting it. All right, so now the headliner: Donald Cerrone versus Jim Miller. Can the Cowboy come to New Jersey and try to beat the
You mean
Jersey?
the cowboy who doesn't know what money is?
The cowboy who doesn't know what money is. Is that unusual? Aren't all cowboys wild and free and beyond concerns of cash?
I've
They have
seen
no
that
need
cowboy
for
prayer.
superficial means.
Yeah.
What is
Out of
money?
all the things Cerrone has said, that's the one that just will probably stick with me forever. I don't even know what money is, man. I can see guys. I can see guys at home, like managers, agents, those types go, "What? Get me on the first plane to Texas."
Cerrone's got
Indeed,
some great comments. Like I'm not even sure I know what MMA roasted is. I hear a lot of people either retweeting it or hating it or whatever. But I saw someone, he made kind of a corny Cowboy Cerrone joke, something, and tweeted at Cowboy. And Cowboy's only response, I loved it. No punctuation, nothing. Just, I will fuck you up. It was one of the greatest tweets I've ever heard, Brett. And we need people like Cowboy, you know what I mean, who doesn't give a shit about You know, everyone else would tiptoe. Oh my God, you just threatened some cowboy. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll lock you up. Yes.
That is
It
actually
was fucking
great.
awesome.
That
Simple
is
but
great.
refreshing.
See, but I'm ducking making the first pick after my Dunham debacle. So, Eugene, who you picking in this one?
You know what? I'm gonna, because he just doesn't give a fuck. I don't think it means he doesn't give a fuck either way. So he could win or lose, doesn't make a difference as long as that check keeps coming of what he doesn't know what it is. And every time I pick against Miller, he wins, man. So Miller has effectively scared me into making a pick that's opposite of where my heart is here. So I'm gonna pick Miller on this one. But
Oh, wow. That's the voice of bitter experience there. Even more bitter than usual. Dallas?
but you know what that means, of course. That means Miller's gonna lose. Just like the Beastie Boys, you know, they made it.
Hey.
Yes. No,
They made it.
he's
Nope,
not
we wanna go
making a
down that road.
qualitative assessment.
Oh
Dallas.
no, not at all. Those guys
He
are
was
great.
just assessing their career prospects.
Oh
I just-
wait, hold on. There's one person who hasn't heard this story. Dallas, have you not heard this story?
He's heard it,
No,
but
no,
he's
no, quiet,
misinterpreted
quiet,
it. So-
quiet. Have you heard me? Have you heard my Beastie Boys story?
I'm tempted just to say yes to kind of burst your bubble, but someone
Okay.
on Twitter tweeted
We've
me
got
that
the
I should
air
get on
time.
you about that.
We've got the airtime for it, so tell
you know,
us.
these guys were New York hardcore. I was New York hardcore. We were friendly. At one point, they called me and they said, "Hey, man, you know, we've been hanging out with African Bombada. We've been going up to, you know, we're gonna kick Suzanne out. Suzanne was the drummer back when they were a hardcore band. And we're
Who
gonna
called
start-
you? Just out of curiosity, I just want to really get into the story.
I
Which one?
believe it was Diamond. It was Mike Diamond.
The brains behind the operation. Anyway, go ahead.
He's all high voiced.
Hey, Eugene.
Yeah. And no, or maybe I called him. This is in the days before cell phones, you know. And he said we're gonna kick out Suzanne, and we're gonna start doing hip hop. I was like, you guys are never gonna make it.
Oh,
You said
wait a
that to him
minute. So
on
this
the
was in their
phone?
transitional between funk and hip hop stage because that's acceptable.
This would have been right before Cookie Puss came out.
Yeah. So before they had
I'll
any
allow
of
that.
before their
I'll
first
allow
hit.
that.
Well, I mean, at what other point in their career would you say you're not going to make it? I guess after License to Ill was huge,
Oh,
and then
yes.
there was a Crash Down to Earth. They split with their
Paul's
producer and
Boutique.
everything. Paul's Boutique was a great album, but it flopped hard.
Yeah.
That's
So
one of their best albums ever.
It is one of the best albums ever made, but it flopped hard. I mean, it was.
But they were already golden. They were already golden after.
Yeah, they were rock stars by that
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
But I
at that
remember
point.
I was like the only guy excited about that album coming out, and like I got to buy like 3 copies of that sweet gatefold
Yep,
vinyl
yeah.
edition. Sold them
Yeah.
all on eBay a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Well, hey, you know, when Ad Rock was sick, the whole nation of Tibet had a 16-hour prayer vigil for him. So
Yeah.
I don't think I could have been more wrong about never going to make it.
That's
No.
when you know you
Yeah.
got street cred right there.
Yeah,
Am I right? I mean,
yeah. I would say that. Although the communist dictators of China would say that, anyway.
Agitators.
Yes. Something about the opiate of the masses and blah blah blah.
So in any case, the proviso here, kids, is if I'm picking Jim Miller, just remember, not only did I say the Beastie Boys would never make it, I also said Suicidal Tendencies would never make it, and I also said the Butthole Surfers wouldn't make it. So I'm
Butthole Surfers I can live with. Suicidal Tendencies, though. Psycho Mike Moyer.
they suck so bad live, man. They used to suck so bad live.
Didn't they win? They had
I
a
never saw
2-year
them
period
live.
where they went from worst band. Was it a flip side poll where they went from worst band to best band in a period of a year?
Yep.
Because they were infamous for sucking in LA
Yeah.
and being dicks. And
Yeah.
then they turned it around, put out a great album, tightened up their show, and were still dicks. But people had to acknowledge.
Yeah, correct. See?
What time frame, so what was the album that made the turnaround?
Pre-institutionalized.
Yeah,
Ah.
all I wanted was a Pepsi. So before their first album came out, they
Yeah.
were just seen as jerk-offs and show
And
loves.
Before they actually produced an album, they were really assholes.
Yeah.
Well, they were always assholes.
Yeah, he was. They were just tough guys, But the late Wes Robinson told me those guys are going to be huge. I said, "You're crazy. You're out of your mind. They're not going to go." And they suck so bad, and they were huge. You
Yep.
know,
They were
they're still
huge,
playing
huge,
festivals
huge.
on the basis of that first record, man.
Why were they
It's
bad
a good
live,
record,
Gene?
huh?
How did Mike sound live on the mic?
They were uninspired, standing around stage drunk, man. He was like he always was, which was just a guy who bum rushed the stage, grabbed the mic, and didn't have shit to say once he was there. It was completely uninspired, and for a guy who was so big and athletic, he just kind of stood there, man. I mean, I remember it from 1983. You know, this is how
But
I
they
lost.
they turned it around because by the time I saw them in the late '80s, they had it down. I mean, they had a
Yeah,
vicious
yeah,
stage act.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Because real money had entered the picture, you know.
well, yeah, they entirely possible they were mercenary. And I also want to point out on the Butthole Surfers thing, Dallas has a jaundiced view of the Butthole Surfers, I guarantee you, because they fucked up their legacy so bad with one of the worst decades any great band ever put together. The Butthole Surfers in the '90s shamed their legacy to an
Yeah.
amazing degree.
Well,
Amazing.
cocaine and Eric Estrada will do that to you.
And Johnny Depp. Is that what you mean by
Yeah, that's
legacy?
right. I
Yes.
forgot about that. Yeah,
Gibby
yeah.
Hayes was so busy hanging out with Johnny Depp and smoking crack that
That's when
but
you start to see Hunter S. Thompson was a genius. He saw Johnny Depp coming up the walkway, shot himself. That's it. I'm out. I'm out.
Him and Johnny were tight.
Yeah, they
yeah.
were tight. That's why he killed himself.
Yeah. He says, I can't do this
I can't get
anymore.
this guy out of here. Clearly, the option is for me to go.
I like what he did with Bill Murray when Bill Murray starred in the flop Hunter S. Thompson biopic where the Buffalo Roam.
Buffalo's
Was
Run.
that a flop? Because that was a
Was
great
It
fucking.
was.
It was a huge flop, man. It
It was a
almost
huge
killed
flick,
Bill
flop,
though.
Murray's
yeah.
career.
Bill Murray's awesome though.
But they were hanging
He
out
was.
after the movie was made, and it was clear that it was a flop, and they were drunk, and they were arguing about who was the better escape artist. So Hunter S. Thompson tied Bill Murray to a chair and threw him in a swimming pool. And
Oh,
fortunately, somebody else was there and rescued him because I believe Hunter was gonna. Maybe I've got
Let
the
him
story
drown.
wrong. Yeah, maybe Hunter did realize that he was going too far and rescued Bill. But anyway, so
for the record, never play the escape artist game. Never.
no, it's
Especially with Hunter S. Thompson.
Bitter personal experience. Do not
so
ever.
you weren't in the John Wayne Gacy basement though when you learned not to play
Close.
the escape artist game.
Close.
Yeah,
Close.
that was
Never
John
play
Wayne
this
Gacy's
game.
whole trick was to do the handcuff trick and then let himself out. Then the victim would be like, "How do you do?" And he'd be like, "You want to see how I did that?" And the guy would be like, "Sure," you know. And then put the handcuffs on him, and Gacy would go, "I had the key."
Yeah, right. Right.
So yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do
Don't
that.
do
I was
it.
also I'm rereading Harpo Marx's autobiography, Harpo Speaks, which I
Uh,
highly recommend to anybody. And he was talking about some escape artist who cock-blocked him with a chick or something, and then asked him to help him with his knots because the substituting, because the guy's girl, like the guy had the Gal Friday or whatever that helped him with the magician tricks, she would normally tie him fake knots on stage, and so she had somehow run off in this fiasco that Harpo was bitter about, and which Harpo never got in her pants. And so Harpo then was asked to be the guy's stage
that's
sidekick.
stupid. But that's
And Harpo
stupid.
tied him up, and they had to fucking come out 20 minutes later and just carry that guy off stage, still in a big pile of knots. So
Sounds
anyway,
like
You
a
know,
fucking
hey,
page
man.
turner there.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's a guy I used to go hunting with all the time, and then he and I,
hunting many
yeah,
sides of Eugene S. Robinson. This
yeah,
is news.
we used to go boar hunting, and then as luck would have it, he got caught up in some relationship embroglio with me. You know, where
As
he
luck
ended
would
up.
have it, or was that just a function of
No,
having?
he ended up being a pawn in some game that some woman was playing with me, and ended up messing around with him and to get back at me. And I was like, hey, man, totally understandable. Bygones, bygones. When are we going hunting next? He goes, you know what? I'm probably never, ever going hunting with you again. I go, you got to be serious, kidding. What do you think? I'm going to take you to the woods and shoot you? He goes, we can be friends, but we're not hunting again. And he's true to his word. We are still friends, but we have never gone hunting again. You know?
Probably smart. Probably smart. Was this the kind of boar hunting where you finish them with a knife, or was?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is some serious shit. I've never done that, but a buddy of mine's really into it, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's.
Oh, no, oh, wait. Just to be clear, I never actually got a boar. I can't sneak up on a house cat.
Well, good to know. Good to know. And I'm not against killing feral pigs because, my God, there's no reason not to kill feral pigs. But all right. I don't even know where we're at. I think we're just rambling after the show. We've
No,
all made our pick. Has
I
Dallas
picked
made his pick?
I picked Miller, and
You
I don't
picked
know
Miller.
what
You're the
anybody else
only
picked.
one who's made a pick. Even
Yeah.
I got to pick Miller just because it's Jersey, and I think Cerrone is a bit of a gift. Sometimes he's on, and sometimes he's not, and I think that Miller can capitalize on his weaknesses. Dallas, your pick?
Cowboy.
Cowboy.
And I'm saying that who's Miller's biggest win? He's a great lightweight, but I want to say he's like top of the middle of the pack. Even when he had like that 5 or 6 or 7 fight title run, there weren't a lot of really like top
He
contenders.
beat Joe Lozon and Melvin Guillard, but Charles Oliveira, who's a little undersized, he beat Gleason Tebow. Mac Danzig, but yeah, I mean his losses are a who's who of the division. Frankie
Mac
Edgar.
Danzig, man, that's a blast from the past. Okay.
Yeah. Are you gonna dance on his grave? Is that?
No, I like Mac Danzig.
All right, so Frank Edgar, Gray Maynard,
I liked his work with the Misfits.
Ben Henderson, and Nate Diaz. So that's and Pat Healy, except for the Reefer made it a do-over, but a no contest. But so
arguably no top wins really from Jim Miller, right?
I mean, arguably, yeah, pretty much. But I mean, Cowboy, who is Cowboy beaten that's that great? I mean, Cowboy's right at that same pack. He's beaten Dennis Seaver, he's beaten Melvin Guillard, Jeremy Stevens, KJ Nunes, Dunham, Barboza, but he lost to Rafael Dos Anjos, he lost to Anthony Pettis, he lost to Nate Diaz, lost to Benson Henderson, lost to Jamie Varner. I mean,
but I would say those list of wins and losses for Cowboy, for me personally, are just a notch above Miller's.
Because you're just like he beat Razor Rob McCullough. He must be a bad man.
Razor Rob is a bad man.
I'm sure he's a bad man, but as far as like a top tier lightweight,
no, I've heard lots of great stories about Razor Rob McCullough that completely outside the cage that have made me a fan.
Razor Rob's a good cat.
Well, he's heavily involved with the ladies of porn, right? Like.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so anymore.
He's moved on. Learned his lesson.
He's a killer Muay Thai fighter. He's for real.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. But he's not like a top tier.
What I heard about Razor Rob is his absolute and total refusal to open a wallet, which I just love.
He's like a tight one, like Jimmy Page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Or Jack Benny.
Jack. You know, in real life, Jack Benny supposedly was not that cheap. That was just a character.
That's true. You know who was? Laurel and Hardy, which was Oliver Hardy, was apparently really
an infamous cheapskate.
Yeah, really bad.
Groucho Marx too was an infamous cheapskate. Every time Chico hit him up for money, Groucho didn't have any. That was probably a wise decision.
Hey, when was the last time you lent a sibling money?
Hey, I would. I mean, just because
would implies that you have not. So
I'm the youngest. Like I'm the one that should be hitting them up for money. You know, like. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So everybody but me is picking Cerrone. I'm just going with the Jersey thing, man. And I don't think that either of these guys is top tier. And I think Miller.
Didn't pick Miller?
No, I picked Miller, man.
Oh, he picked me. That's right. But it was sort of a caveat loaded.
Man, maybe.
Like everything else on this show.
No, I'm willing to go in for Miller. Just to kick the football, Eugene. Go ahead, kick it. I'm not going to move it this time. I promise. So yeah.
How do you see Miller winning, though? Because he's extremely talented, excellent transition.
I see him grappling early. Yep. I see him taking advantage of Cerrone's slow start and getting on top of him and sucking the life out of him with some ground and pound. And also, I think that Joe Lozon.
How many guys have you seen be successful on top of Cerrone, though?
That are as good as grapplers as Miller. I mean,
or any.
Rafael Dos Anjos was pretty successful. Nate Diaz outboxed him. How did RDA beat him anyway? It was a decision, but did he dominate him on the feet, or did he had to use some grappling to beat Cerrone?
It was mostly on the feet.
It was mostly on the feet.
Cerrone's got a killer fucking guard.
It's true, but Miller can handle a good guard game. I'm not worried about Miller.
He can handle it, yeah, but I'm not sure he's going to get on top and
just school him. Well, we'll see. It's a bit of. I mean, admittedly, my pick is based on geography more than science. But before we end, I gotta say, Dallas, in the '80s, the Butthole Surfers were the kings of the scene. They were the only punk band. They got the biggest guarantee in punk. They had the biggest crowds in punk. They were the Grateful Dead of the '80s. They put on the most Ministry stole their live show cold. So
Really?
any of that, yes, the whole terrifying spectacle with films being projected behind the screen, the buttholes had all that. Like they had flames shooting up out of cymbals, and it was all homebrew. They did it all themselves, and they were
Well,
legit
Gibby
terrifying.
I
also
didn't know that.
Gibby setting himself on fire also was pretty revolutionary at the time. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
He
didn't
would
know
come
that.
out there
I've
with
been to a
lighter
couple ministry
fluid. And,
shows too.
But
yeah,
keep in mind, I said that they would never make it, not for musical reasons. They gave me Brown Reason to Live. First time we played in Austin, we stayed with them. They took us around through Austin, and then and they after Gibby we got to the club. Gibby got out of the van. My guitar player said, "What do you think?" I go, "Oh man, this is great, but with a name like that, you're never gonna make it."
I mean that did hold him back from their
Yeah.
clear commercial. It held him back in a way, but what really killed him was the sellout was so weak. That album they did on Rough Trade was so terrible, and then the hit single they had, I think, tainted them for anybody Dallas's age. They were so pussy and weak in the '90s. It was just
Oh
terrible.
no,
Tainted, pun
I
intended.
Uh-huh.
no,
Yeah, you
I
got to imagine any rectum-centric name isn't quite destined for mainstream.
No, I'm gonna say they destroyed themselves by the touch and go thing. They were
I,
still a number one sell. I thought for a long time it had been Jesus Lizard, but they were eventually eclipsed by Butthole Surfaces being number one sellers on touch and go. And Gibby and I think both Paul were both got their degrees in accounting. You're not
yeah,
gonna
they're
screw with those
hardcore
guys.
business guys,
Yeah, and it was
and they
just
destroyed Touch and Go Records. And
you know what? People are like, oh, touch and go, touch and go. Look, people have contracts for precisely this very reason. Don't give me that stuff about, oh, we do it all handshake. Well, you got your handshake. You got yourself a prison handshake.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and if you don't know the story, the Butthole Surfers got in this ugly lawsuit with their record company, Touch and Go Records, that ended with them getting all rights to their back catalog, and I believe Touch and Go had to destroy their entire inventory of records, not just their Buttholes records, but everything,
Man.
and it put them in a deep hole. But
No, it finished. It finished him. Touch and go
yeah,
is no longer an active concern.
yeah, it finished him. But here's the thing: that was karma because Corey Rusk inherited that record label from the Meatman, Tesco V, the Meatman, and Barry Hensler from the Necros, and he played bass for the Necros, and he kept the Necros' great first album out of print for
Conquest
like
for
15
Death?
or 20 years. Yes, the first record, and like that's karma, man. If you're gonna stone fuck one of the great Midwestern hardcore bands like that by making their work unavailable for decades for nothing but personal reasons because they thought you were a pussy when you went on the tour with them and heckled you hard. That's don't come crying to me when
Except
Gibby and Paul.
But Barry is a hard case, man.
I'm sure he's a horrible asshole, but still, Eugene, don't you think that's a party foul to like keep a band's catalog out of print?
Yeah, especially since I had that record, sold it, and wanted it again, just for the Conquest for Death, the song itself, or in a feudal search for fame. I mean, Barry is great. As difficult as he is great. But but he didn't steal, he didn't hijack the label from those guys. Tesco was
no, they gave it to him. They gave it to him fair and square, but still, it's lame to keep a band's record out of print like that, especially the band that started the label.
Well, you know what? People remember have rosy views of guys like Corey, but essentially Ian MacKaye did the same thing to Void. And I don't know really what passed between them, but at some point I remember Ian saying, those guys are crybabies. And he killed them,
Yeah.
I don't know if he killed them or they killed themselves, but what they were getting was not commensurate with what they thought they should be getting. Ian cooled on them, and they never really did anything after that first.
Well,
record.
he set on the they did that split with Faith and Void, right?
Yep.
That was a classic, and then they recorded a full album, and he refused to release it, and it never came out, and it might have been lost.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hey, this discussion is enrapturing, but I have to pee.
All right. Well, you can bail. We're done with the show. But
No
Dallas,
offense.
you should check out Void though. They were like one of the first metal punk.
Who am I? Why am I here? Who am I? Why am I here? That could be our theme song for the show.
Not like Ian's going to sell us the rights to use it though, Mr. Ian. All right. So that's the show. Remember, and Dallas, I've been watching your show, and you're refusing to give out the Twitter handles and the plug. Bad. See, this is how it's done. Give us a like
You
on
always
this
seem so
YouTube
fucking
video.
corny every time you're doing that.
Hey, you got to do it. It's like this is This is the putting on your makeup and the short
Who am
skirt
I?
in
Why
the
am I
streets
here?
part of the show.
Who am I? Why
Give
am
us
I
a like.
here?
Who am I?
Subscribe to MMANation.com
Why
on
am I here?
YouTube. Read us on BloodyElbow.com. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at
Who am
KidNate,
I?
at Uncle Justice, which is Dallas Winston, even though his name has nothing to do with it.
Yes.
And that's our show. Adios,
Who am I?
MMA aficionados. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back at some point with something. Actually, tomorrow, Dallas and Zane and I will be back with the
And where's the
MMA
knuckle up?
vivisection.
Where
Knuckle
is it?
Up
Where
should
is
be
it?
live already, dude.
All right,
Check
there
your
you go.
Twitter feed, and I'll be
Who
putting
am
it
I?
on Facebook briefly. So, all right.
That should be our
Yes,
theme.
and
It's
this
good.
show will not go on Bloody Elbow until tomorrow early, so Knuckle Up can have its time in the
Oh, thank
sun.
you.
Yes, this is your reward for getting up early and working hard, Eugene.
I'd accept a check. I'd accept a check.
You've got a
Getting
check
up
in the
kinda
mail.
early.
Dallas, tell him this check's in the
Yeah,
mail.
you need
I
new
saw-
material. You know that as of Friday.
I said, thank you, sir.
That joke is no good until
Actually,
more days.
Until next Friday.
all right. Adios,
All right,
MMA
man. All right, see you
aficionados.
guys. All
Thanks,
right, bye.
everybody.